Hello crafty family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. In today's video, I'm going to share 10 of my favorite modern DIYs that have a relaxing spa vibe. Now you won't believe that these are created with dollar store items. To get you all started, I've included the full supply list with the links in the description box below. Now to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, I wanted to say hey, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You'll definitely want to subscribe to see hundreds of fresh and original craft ideas on my channel. So let's jump in and get started. Now this is a set of framed succulent wall decor pieces. Now we're going to need 3 of these hexagon picture frames from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need 2 packs of these craft sticks from Lowe's for 98 cents. Now the first thing we're going to do is to take our picture frames and we're going to remove them from all of the packaging. Now once we do that, we're going to open up the back, and there's these little hooks that you just twist out of place, and we're going to remove everything inside of the frames, including the paper, the backing, and the sheet of glass. Now all we're going to be using for this project are the frames and the backings. So I'm going to lay down my SureBonder silicone mat and grab the backings and my craft sticks. Now once we get our craft sticks open, we are going to arrange our backings where the hook is at the top, so we'll know which way to lay our craft sticks across the front. Now some of these craft sticks will be too short for the width, so what I decided to do is to lay them out in a tile fashion. So I'll be cutting these at varying lengths, and then I'm just going to hot glue them to the back with my SureBonder wood stick hot glue. Now it's okay if the ends overlap the edges of this shape, and that's totally fine because we'll be trimming these down to size. You just want the joining ends in the center to be even. Now once we put that first one into place, we're going to start with our second one. Now when we do cut the second stick, we do want to stagger that seam to make it look like a more natural tiled appearance. Now you're just going to hot glue those pieces into place, and you want to make sure those flat ends are together, and then secure them right under that first row. Now we're just going to continue this process all the way down, staggering those seams. Now here is the entire backing all covered with my craft sticks. So now I'm going to lay out my cutting mat, and I'm going to grab an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors to trim this off. Now I'm going to first show you how to trim with scissors. Now these craft sticks are fairly easy to trim with a nice heavy-duty pair of scissors, as you can see here, and the line is fairly straight. Now if you have an X-Acto knife or a utility knife, if you score it just a few times, those ends should just snap right off as well. Now here are all the ends all trimmed off. Now if you notice on the back, there's these little areas where you can see that craft stick, and those are where those hinges are. So we're going to just trim those out with an X-Acto knife or utility knife just to make sure they'll fit right into the frame when they're all done. So now we're just going to repeat this process for our other 2 frame backings. And now here are all 3 of my frame backings all tiled with those craft sticks. So now what I want to do is to stain those craft sticks, and to do that I'm just going to use some of this Waverly Antique Wax. Now to apply it, I'm just taking an old rag, and I'm going to apply that stain all over those wood sticks, just making sure I get a nice even coat across them and making sure the color blends in well. Now here is one of the pieces all covered with that Waverly Antique Wax, and just repeat this for your next 2. And now that all of our pieces are stained, set those to the side to dry. Alright, so now that they're all dry, we can start decorating them. So I have a bunch of different succulents in different sizes, and I've picked these up here and there, mostly from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to take is like 2 or 3 of them and arrange them in a little bunch in the center of each one of these wood plank pieces. And once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to adhere them to the center. Now if you want these to be extra permanent, you just be generous with that hot glue while placing it into place, but I'm only putting a dot or 2 for my version because I plan on reusing these succulents for other projects, but it still will be secure to display in my decor. Now once you get that all glued down, this is what they'll all look like, and you see that they are nice and secure. And now all you have to do is to take your frames and go ahead and pop those right back in, and then swing those hinges over to secure the backing inside of that frame. Now once that first one is done, just repeat this for your other two. And now these are ready to display. And here are all of my framed succulents displayed on the tabletop, and they turned out amazing. Now I love how beautiful the colors are of these pieces, and they look great in these frames. And I also love how the texture of the wood looks with the antique wax applied. Now, if you would rather hang these, there are a few other options you could choose. Now, here are the pieces hung in a vertical pattern on the wall. Now, I think this would be perfect when you have a narrow space that you would love to decorate. And all of these little pops of color always add that little brightness to a dim space. Now these can be hung horizontal on the wall too. And now here's a different is a cluster arrangement that is also an option. Now this way has to be my favorite way to display these, but you all have to let me know in the comments how would you choose to display these pieces in your space. Now this project is a set of round wood vases. We're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We're going to need 2 round gift containers from the Dollar Tree. And we'll need 2 of these dessert cups sold in 6-packs from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start off with those round gift boxes and just go ahead and take off any lids. We won't be using them in this project. Now what we're going to do is we are going to paint the insides of our containers with some black acrylic paint. Now this is also optional, but I really do think that this makes it gives it a completed look, and it makes it look really clean. So I did paint about 1/2 inch on the outside as well, because that will be showing on the inside of our containers when we're done. And we want to repeat this for your other container and allow them to dry. So now that they're dry, I'm going to protect that paint with a little bit of matte Mod Podge, and I'm just going to apply a layer on the inside and around the edge where we painted on both of our containers. Now once they are just about dry, we can start with adding those blocks to our containers. Now I am going to use my pre-stained tumbling tower blocks and my Jacobian Midnight Stain for this project. Now I'm also going to be using my wood stick hot glue by Surebonder. So we're going to start by adding those blocks along the bottom. Again, making sure that you press it down on the mat after you add each block. You do want to make sure that they're absolutely even. That way it'll look copacetic throughout the process of adding your rows of blocks. Now you just want to add that first row and then take a look at it to make sure everything is even. Here is our first row. Now there is a tiny gap there, but we will remedy that later in the project. So now you just want to go and add your second row, and you want to put your blocks directly on top of the other block to make sure they're in alignment. Now this is important to make sure all of your exposed areas are covered up throughout the project. So here's the second row. Now all you have to do is add your third row. So here are all 3 rows on our container, and the vase is looking really good. Just repeat this for your other container. So here are both containers all covered with the blocks, and I mentioned earlier there is that little teeny gap. It's too small for a block. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint that gap. Now I'm going to mix a color of chocolate brown and some black. I'm going to blend those together until I get a stained color that gets close to the stain on my project. And what I'm going to do is actually paint in between that gap with this color to make it blend into the blocks. Now once you apply 2 to 3 layers of this paint, allowing them to dry in between, it'll be barely noticeable and your project will still look amazing. Now here is the paint all added to the project. Everything looks good. So now what I want to do is cover the bottom of my projects. You guys know I love to finish them off at the bottom too. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this black foam sheet to fit the size of the bottom of both of my containers. So now I'm just going to add some hot glue around the bottom of the containers, making sure you get around the edge and around the middle very well. And then press the bottom of the container on the foam sheet. You want to repeat this with the other container as well. And when both are bonded to the sheet, just cut them apart with an X-Acto knife and trim off all of the excess. And now here are both of the bottoms of my containers, all nice and clean. Now we're going to go ahead and stain those raw edges with that stain to make everything match. Now I have these dessert cup from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use these as stands for my container, and I did want them to be optional and not permanent. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to paint 2 layers of some black acrylic paint on my dessert cups and let them dry thoroughly in between your coats. So now that both coats are nice and dry, I'm going to protect that finish with some Mod Podge. This is an important step because the paint will chip easily off these containers, and that Mod Podge seals it in and gives it a protective coat. So go ahead and just add 1 coat to each one of those containers. So now that they're dry, we can start to work on adhering them to the container. Now, like I mentioned before, I didn't want this to be permanent. So what I'm going to use is some of this self-stick elastic that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now, this is a total optional step. I'm just providing a different way for you to display these if you want to, and it's totally removable if you want to match your decor a different way. So I'm just going to cut a piece that will fit on the top of that dessert bowl, or actually it would be the bottom. So I'm just going to add 2 pieces to the bottom, trimming them to fit, adding them to the part that you did not paint right in the center. Now I'm adding the soft portion of the Velcro on this piece. You're just going to trim it down to fit. Repeat that for your other container. Now for the firm stick or the hook side of your Velcro, I'm going to put that in the center of the bottom of your vase container that you made. And I'm just trimming this down to match the size that's on the bottom of the bowl. Now once that's stuck into place, this will be a Velcro removable stand for your containers. I'm just going to press one firmly onto that Velcro, and now you have some stands at the bottom of your vases if you wish to have them, or you can remove them. Now to decorate these, I just added some onion grass, and I am really loving this look. Now I love using onion grass from the Dollar Tree in my projects, and it works perfect for this project. And these vases, oh my goodness, I think they look so amazing with these Dollar Tree items. Now I know I've seen something similar online for over $30, so this is an awesome project. And now you can switch it up with the optional stands, and I love this look too. Now I love being able to switch up things by making small optional upgrades like this, and I hope that you all enjoy recreating this look for your space too. Now this is a wood pedestal beaded tray. We're going to start with 1 wood round from the Walmart for 97 cents, and with plastic dessert cup sold in 6 packs from the Dollar Tree, and wood beads of your choice. So we're going to start off with that wood plank. Go ahead and remove all the tags and the hanging tag in the back. Now it's attached with a staple, so you'll have to use a pair of wire cutters to get that out. Now once we have it ready to go, I'm going to again use my Waverly Antique Wax to cover up that round square or circle. So I'm just adding some of that Waverly Antique Wax right on top. I love working with this antique wax. It really makes pieces look stained. It's really quick and easy to use if you don't want to use traditional stain. Just make sure you get around the edges and everything. Now for the back side, I'm not going to put wax, but I am going to use some black acrylic paint. Now you can wax the back as well, but this won't be shown in the project, and I would like to conserve my wax for other projects. So I'm just going over it and covering it with this black acrylic paint to cover the entire bottom. And then I'm going to take that little dessert cup that we got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm also going to put 2 coats of that black acrylic paint on that as well. So now that both of our pieces are nice and painted and dry, we can start to accent our wood board, and I'm again going to use some of these beads without spilling them this time. So I'm just going to add some hot glue, this time to the side of the beads, because we don't want the holes to show on the top and the holes will be on the side. So we're going to add these beads all the way around our round piece, and then we're just going to place them very snug together so there are no gaps. And this is what our tray will look like with all of our beads in place. So once that's done, flip it over, and now we can add our little dessert cup at the bottom, and this will be the stand for our tray. I'm just going to go around it about 3 or 4 times with my SureBonder hot glue, and then press it right in the center of the bottom. Now once that glue dries, it is nice and secure and you're ready to display. And look at how simple and easy this was to do. Now this is great for displaying all kinds of small decor items or even candles. Now I think that the antique wax and the beads look amazing in this project, and they add a touch of style to everything you want to display. Let me know what you would display on this tray for your home. This project is for a DIY frame and leaf prints. We're going to start with some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree, some foam board from the Dollar Tree, and we'll need 2 of these leaf printables that I will have linked in the description box below. Now we're going to start with our tumbling tower blocks, so go ahead and remove some blocks, place them on your silicone mat. Now I am also going to be using this carpenter square that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start by making 4 6-block sets of the tumbling tower blocks. Now again, I will be using my wood stick hot glue by SureBonder to bond these together. Now I will be bonding these end to end, so you do want to place just a dab at a time between each block, making sure that you wipe away any hot glue that oozes out of the seam. Now another trick that I've learned over the time working with the blocks is you want to make sure that you flip them as you adhere them together. Now you're going to repeat this until you have all 6 of your blocks and you have 4 sets. So now what you want to do is to make 4 block sets. And we're just going to repeat that same process we did for the 6-block sets, making sure they're adhered even end to end, flipping them as you go. And so now we have all 4 of the 4-block sets ready to go as well, and now we can put together our frames. So we're going to start by placing one of the 4-block sets on the side and one of the 6-block sets on the bottom. Just add some hot glue to the end of that 4-block set and press it into the corner of the 6-block set, and then rotate it around. And now we're going to grab another one of the 4-block sets and place it on the end of the 6-block set and press that nice and secure into place. Now this last rotation, we're just going to add that last 6-block set right on the end. Just apply a few dabs of that hot glue and make sure it's secured to that last piece. And here is one completed frame, and it's nice and secure. We're just going to repeat this for the last frame on the other remaining block sets. And here we go. We have 2 frames ready. So now we're going to work on our foam board. So grab your foam board and your frames, and you want to lay your frames out in a way that they'll both fit on the piece. We're going to take one of those frames, trace one out, and then shift it down to trace a second one out. Now these will work as the mounting board for our artwork. Now once you have your 2 frame cutouts ready to go, we are going to be cutting them out with an X-Acto knife. So go ahead and make sure you have your ruler and a very sharp X-Acto knife. Just be careful using it. Just go ahead and start by cutting out both of the frames in one solid piece so you can remove all of that excess. Now once the excess is removed, just go ahead and split it down the middle where you have marked your line. So now you have your 2 foam boards cut out. Now I do want to trim off about 1/4 inch on each one of the sides so it would sit just inside the inside outside of the frame kinda, so you don't want it to overlap the edges. So I'm just trimming off 1/4 inch over the top and the bottom of each one of these foam board sheets, and this is what you'll have left. So now we're going to take our artwork that we printed out. Again, it's in the description box below, the website where I got these, and I do highly suggest that you print these out on cardstock for the best result. So we're going to lay the artwork right on top of the foam board. So I'm just going to go around that foam board with a bead of that hot glue, and then take your artwork and carefully place it on the foam board nice and even. Now when you do apply it, you want to flip it over, and it will overlap slightly on the top, and all you have to do is to take your X-Acto knife and trim off any excess. Now you're going to repeat this for your other frame, and now you have your artwork mounted to your foam boards. So now we're going to take those two frames that we made out of our Jenga blocks or our tumbling tower blocks, and I'm going to paint them with this black acrylic paint. Now I'm just going to start by painting the inside of my frames. I just like to paint the inside first. It just seems so much easier with the process. And once that inside is done, I like to do the outside of the frame. Now once the inside and outside are completely done, I can lay the frame flat and then paint the outside area. Now you do want to repeat this for your other frame when that one is done. And once both of them are painted, let them completely dry. So now that they're dry, we can start to mount our artwork. So take one of your frames and flip it face down, and then make sure your artwork will fit right on top before you adhere it. Now once the fit is good, you want to line the back of the frame with a bead of that hot glue. Now you don't want to put too much where it oozes out onto the artwork, but you do want enough so the inside will secure that photo to the frame, and here is what one looks like. Now you notice that back trim has the white showing, and you can leave it as is, but if you did want to blend it in with the frame, all you have to do is go around that white edge of the foam board with a little black acrylic paint, and it'll blend in if you're concerned about showing the white foam board around the edges. Now we're just going to repeat this process for the other frame, and now both of our artwork pieces are mounted to the frame. So now we're going to add something to hang this with, and I'm just going to use 2 pieces of jute twine with knots tied on each end, and all you have to do is just add a dot of hot glue on each end where that knot is and secure it into place. Now since these are very lightweight, this is more than suitable for hanging these, and they will look awesome. And there you have it, 2 perfectly mounted art pieces for your space. Now I'm really loving the simplicity of the black and white, and it really gives this piece a high-end look. Now this method is definitely my go-to when I can't find the perfect style and size frame from the Dollar Tree. I think that this method works great. Now I do hope that you all enjoy creating these frames as well for your customized prints too. Now this project is a hexagon pocket planter set. Now we're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We're going to need 2 hexagon gift box lids, and these are also from the Dollar Tree. Now they do have an assortment of different sizes and shapes to choose from, so you can select any one that you like. Now we're also going to use some large quart craft sticks from Lowe's for 98 cents. Now we're going to start off with those hexagon lids, and I'm going to put a layer of chalk paint on the inside to give them a nice, clean, fresh look. Now I'm just going to apply that chalk paint to cover up all of the color, including the bottom and the side edges of the lids. Now you want to repeat this for both of the lids until they're fully covered, and you want to allow them to completely dry. So once they are dry, go ahead and grab those up, and we're also going to grab our tumbling tower blocks that we've already pre-stained with our Jacobian stain by Minwax. Now we're going to start applying those blocks around the lid, and I'm using my Surebonder hot glue with a wood stick hot glue stick inside. Now when we start applying the blocks, we want to make sure that the bottom edge of the block is flush with the bottom edge of the lid, and we just press this against the mat as we go around the edge. Now you can start anywhere you like. I kind of started in the center just to kind of eyeball it, but you want to add your blocks all around that bottom edge and make sure they're nice and even. Now here I am halfway through, everything is looking good, so I'm going to continue to work my way around. Now here are all the blocks applied, and that last little space is too big for one of the blocks, so we'll have to trim that down. Now in order to do this, I'm just using a miter box that I picked up from my local home improvement store. I've taped a block in the center and I'm just going to saw it in half. Now you can easily pick up one of these miter boxes from your local home improvement store, and they're very affordable. They come with a box and a saw, and they're about $10 to $11. So once that block is sawed in half, we'll be able to use that in the project. So we're going to go ahead and grab our piece, and there it goes. It fits perfectly in that little slot, so we're just going to hot glue that into place. And now we're going to repeat this for our other lid, adding the blocks around. And again, there is a tiny little gap left, and the other half of that block will fit perfectly into that gap as well. And we're just going to hot glue that in place. And there we go. Both of our lids have the blocks applied. Now in order to make our pocket cover, this is where those craft sticks come into play. And I'm going to go ahead and lay out 9 of these craft sticks. Now to make sure they're nice and even, I'm going to use my carpenter square that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to line them up as close together as possible. Then to bond them together, I'm taking 2 additional craft sticks and I'm just going to lay them across all of the craft sticks until they're all touching, and then add some hot glue on the back of them and secure them down on all of them, pressing them close together. Now once both sticks are in place, you'll have one solid piece to work with. So now we're going to take our hexagon piece and we're going to trace the bottom half of our hexagon box onto that craft stick. And this will just form the outline that'll fit on top of the pocket cover. Now we're going to mark the sides where the middle is and all along the bottom. And then grab a ruler to measure the top because we want the top to be nice and straight. Now in order to trim this out, you can use scissors for the portions that don't have the double layer of the craft sticks. But once you reach the point where the craft stick is, you want to switch over to a utility knife or a X-Acto knife and a ruler to cut. Now in order to cut these, I'm just going to score it 2 or 3 times with my X-Acto knife, and then it should easily bend apart and snap in half evenly where you made your cuts. And then you can repeat this for the remainder of the cuts on your piece. Now here is one of the pieces cut out for our pocket cover, and I'm just going to place it on top to see if there's any adjustments that need to be made and mark any additional areas that might need to be trimmed down. And then you can easily trim those down with a pair of scissors. Go ahead and retest the fit and everything looks good. And now you want to repeat this for your smaller box for the other half of your craft stick piece. So now that we have both of our pieces, we're going to go ahead and stain it to match with our Jacobian stain by Minwax. And I'm just going to apply one nice layer over the top of the piece and around all of those edges. Now here's the piece all covered, and you don't need to stain the back since it won't show. You just want to make sure both pieces are evenly stained. Now on the back, I'm just going to add another piece of craft stick just for a little bit of reinforcement, and I'm going to add one piece to the back of each one of those pocket covers. Now you just want to allow these to completely dry. Now while those dry, I'm going to protect my chalk paint covering with some Mod Podge. Now I like to use this matte Mod Podge to cover all of my surfaces that I paint with the paint, and this will avoid any chipping or scraping as we insert and remove different decorative accents into our pocket planter. Now I'm just going to apply an even coat on the inside of both boxes on those painted surfaces. So now that those are dry, we could take our pocket covers and we're going to add them to the bottom half of our boxes. Now to adhere these, I'm just going to put a layer of my wood stick hot glue along that bottom half of the box and then press that pocket cover right on top, making sure it's secured into place. Now once both are in place, allow them to completely dry, and then we can go in and we can go ahead and stain those exposed ends of the blocks to match everything with the paint and the stain color. Now here are the pieces all updated and stained, and now everything matches. So we're going to flip these over, and I'm going to add a hanger. Now I'm just using some black ribbon that I had on hand, but they do have black ribbon at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut a piece that's about 2.5 to 3 inches, and I'm going to form a loop on the back of the box. I'm just going to add some of that hot glue to each end of that ribbon and secure it in place at the top of the box. Now you're going to repeat this for the smaller box as well. Now once that's done, you guys know I love to finish off the back of my projects to cover up all of that artwork. So I'm going to grab some of this black foam sheet that I had on hand, and this is just a craft foam. I'm just going to cut a piece to cover, big enough to cover the back of both of my boxes, and I'm just going to line the back of the boxes with that hot glue and then press it onto that foam sheet. Now once both boxes are nice and secured to the foam sheet, you can trim off all of the excess with your X-Acto knife. Now once they're both nice and trimmed off, they are ready to decorate and display. And here are both of my planter boxes all hung up and decorated. How adorable are these? Now I've added some Dollar Tree succulents to my planters, and I love the way that they turned out. Now you can add any kind of faux plants that you love to complement your space, and you have the option of sitting these on a shelf or even hanging them up as shown here. Let me know what you think of this project in the comments below. I really hope that you all are enjoying these crafts so far, but I wanted to pop in really quick and let you all know that you could follow me on all of these platforms as She Sew Craft DEE. So now let's jump right into that next DIY. Project is a decorative table basket. Now we'll need one of these plain baskets from the Dollar Tree. We'll also need some cotton twine, also from the Dollar Tree. So now what we want to do is take our basket, and we are going to measure for a center line that we're going to paint. So I'm measuring about 2¼ inches all the way around the basket, and I'm making a mark with a pencil. Now once that's done all the way around the bottom, we want to do the same thing around the top at about 2¼ inches all the way around. So now that all my marks are made, I'm just going to go in with a Sharpie just to highlight those marks so I can see them a little better. So now that our marks are nice and bold, we're going to take some painter's tape, and I am going to run painter's tape along the bottom of those marks, pressing it into place as I go, just making sure you apply it as straight as possible, lining up with those marks, and then pressing it into the weaving pattern. Now we're going to repeat this around the top as well, so we'll have a strip around the middle. So now that our 2 strips of painter's tape are now applied, we can start with our painting process. Now I'm going to be using some black apple acrylic paint to paint my strip in the middle. Now my first layer is kind of going to be dry brushed on, especially around the edges, because I kind of want to create a line and a seal around the tape to try to prevent as much bleeding as possible. So here is our dry brushed layer, and we want this to completely dry. And now that that's dry, we're going to go in with our heavier solid layer of our black acrylic paint, just making sure that we cover all of the exposed basket in between that painter's tape. And now here is that layer applied, and please let this completely dry, and then when it does, you can remove that painter's tape and of course that annoying little tag in the corner. So once we remove our painter's tape, there are probably going to be a few areas where that paint did bleed, but it's probably going to be minor. If it does bother you, feel free to go in and touch up with a little more acrylic paint around the edges, but once this project is finished, it will barely be noticeable. Now once you do your touch-ups, just let that completely dry. So now that our black strip is dry, we're going to use our Waverly Antique Wax to fill in the areas above and below that strip. Now I'm using some chipping brushes that I got from the Dollar Tree and also a thinner brush to do some fine details. So I'm going to go in with my large chip brush and apply that Waverly Antique Wax around the bottom of the basket first, just wisping it along the edges, making sure it gets into all of those crevices. And then to get closer to that black line, just use the smaller, finer detail brush to get that wax in place. Now once you finish that layer all the way around, you want to immediately go in with a cloth and wipe away any excess antique wax, and this will give you that really rustic look and appearance, and plus it prevents the caking up of that wax. So once that's done, go ahead and repeat this entire process for that top of the stripe as well, just making sure you apply it and then wipe it away. Now we're going to do the entire inside as well. Now this is actually completely optional, but sometimes home decor does fall below the rim of the basket, and having the inside finish will look awesome. So I'm going in with the same process of applying the wax and then wiping it away with a cloth. Now doing the bottom of the basket is also optional as well. So now that our basket is all covered and it's nice and dry, we can go ahead and continue on to the next step, which is adding our cotton twine. Now this cotton twine is from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use this to make kind of a triangle zigzag pattern on the stripe of my basket. So to start it off, I'm going to make one strip of hot glue on the side, and I'm going to apply that cotton twine on that little diagonal strip. Now in order to make my triangles nice and crisp, I'm going to need something to hold it in place besides my finger. So I'm going to use this little tool that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's an embossing tool, and I'm just going to hold it in place, add another line of hot glue in a triangular pattern, and press that cotton twine into place. So once that's adhered, we're just going to repeat this process again. Go ahead and go in the other direction of the zigzag, put your tool right at the tip of that triangle, get that angle, and then add that hot glue. Now you can see how easy this process will be. We're going to continue this all the way around the basket in the same pattern. Now we'll end up with about 3 triangles per side, just to get an idea of how big they are going to be. Now we're just going to repeat this process all the way around until it's all covered. Now here is our basket all finished, so we're going to clip off the end of that cotton twine and check out our work and just make sure everything is nice and even all the way around. Now I wanted my basket to have a weaving look, like I've woven the string into the basket. So what I'm doing is taking a fine tipped paintbrush, and I'm going to dab some of that black acrylic paint in 2 spots on each side of the triangle. Now this will look as if I have woven it through the basket, and it's kind of a trick. It's a cheater method, but it is effective. So I'm going to do this all the way around the basket and see how that looks and see how that turns out. So here is what it's starting to look like, and you're going to continue it all the way around, and here is the finished product of it, and I absolutely love it. I think it does really look like basket weaving. Now once that's done, all you have to do is allow it to completely dry. And now that it's dry, you can just sit your basket out and fill it with whatever decorative accents that you like. Now I love the size of this basket. It's perfect for all of your little trinkets, books, or even to cover a potted plant. And I can't tell you how much I love this zigzag trim on the basket, and it really makes it look higher end. Now along with that beautiful the wax, it really does make this a winner in my book, and I hope that you all love this creation as well. Now this is for a set of plant and candle holder stands. Now we're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We'll need a couple of these wood cubes from the Dollar Tree, and a couple of circular or square containers of your choice. Now again, we're going to start off with our previously stained blocks that we have on hand and our carpenter square. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 of the blocks. Now when we lay these out, we want to lay them out in a T formation, and we want to have the blocks laying on their side. Again, taking my Shermander wood stick hot glue, I'm going to apply one of the blocks to each side of the middle tumbling tower block to form a T as shown here. Now you do want to make sure you wipe away any glue in the seams to have it a nice clean look. Now you're going to repeat this until you have a total of 4 of the T blocks. So now we're going to grab one of those little cubes, and this will be the center of our holder. So I'm going to be applying it to the end of the middle of that T. Go ahead and apply some of that wood stick hot glue in the middle and place the block. Now you want it flush across the top, but you see it will protrude down the bottom, and that's okay because you won't see that in the final project. And then we're going to add the other side by adding the glue, making sure that top remains flush. Now once those two are in place, we're just going to continue adding the other two on each side of the block, and we want to make sure that those remain flush as well and that they're bonded and nice and even. So here is our stand all assembled. So you see I do have some exposed areas of the wood, so I'm just going to go in and touch that up just with a little stain, and I'm just using a little Q-tip since it's a really small job. I also want to stain that cube in the middle as well. So here's one of my stands all completed and stained. Now at the bottom of the stand, we're going to go around that protruding part of the block again, just with another line of hot glue, just to make sure it stays nice and secure into place. So now what we're going to do, that we have our first stand, we're going to repeat this until we have a second stand. So here are our two stands ready to go, and all you have to do now is decorate them. Now I picked up these two little cute containers from the Dollar Tree. I just thought they were so adorable and they fit in these stands perfectly. Now these come with little lids. Now you can put the entire container in here with the lids, and I think that's adorable, or you can remove the lids or place something inside. Either way, it is up to you. Now what I did is I placed a couple of succulents inside of my containers for a simple sweet accent. Now it doesn't take much to dress up these little containers since they're already so beautiful. Now you can also display them as storage with their lids too. Now another fantastic way to display these is by using the square glass vases from the Dollar Tree. Now all I did with these is fill them with some white rocks and succulents, and I love the fresh and clean look. And these were super fun and easy. Now, if you love candles as much as I do, these little frosted candle holders from the Dollar Tree are the perfect fit for these holders. Now, all I did was add a battery votive candle, and they look awesome. Now, I would totally love these in my bath area. Now, these ivory and gold containers was such an amazing find at the Dollar Tree. I ended up pairing these with a few of their greenery bundles, and it really pulls this entire look together. Now there are so many ways to style these holders. I hope you all have fun with it. This project is a set of vases with wood stands. Now we're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We're going to need 3 of these tall thin vases from the Dollar Tree. And we're also going to need some of these black rocks from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start off working with our blocks for this project. And I'm also going to use this carpenter square that I got from the Dollar Tree to help with the alignment of everything. So the first set we're going to glue together is we're going to gather up 4 blocks, and we're going to make 3 sets of these 4 blocks. Now to bond these together, I'm adding some of this Shermander wood stick hot glue to each side, and as I join each one together, I'm flipping over the set and making sure it's nice and even. I found that flipping them as you go makes them nice and even, and also with using the ruler, this is definitely a necessary step. And here is one of the 4 block sets. Now complete this until you have a total of 3. So the next set of blocks we are going to be joining together are 3 blocks in a row. Now we're going to make 12 sets of these 3 blocks. Now we're going to join these together the same way we did for the 4 block sets, just joining them end to end and making sure they're nice and even with your ruler, and then repeat this until you have a total of 12. Now the last set of blocks we're going to be using for this project are sets of 5. Now we are going to be making 12 sets of 5 as well, and just continue to join them together just like we did before until we have this 5 block set, and then continue until we have a total of 12. So we're going to take one of the 4 block sets, and this will be the top of each one of our sets, and then we're going to take 2 of the 3 block sets and join it on each side as shown here. So just add some of that wood stick hot glue on each side, and you want to press it in the corner and make sure it's nice and secure, and then add another one of those 3 block sets on the side of that 4-piece set until you get a piece that looks like this U shape. So now we're going to grab one of the 5 block sets, and we're going to add 1 on each open side of it, and you see that this will make a solid box. So go ahead and add some of that hot glue along each side of that U shape and press one of those 5 block sets into place. Now once you do that and squeeze everything in place, you want to make sure you wipe away any hot glue that oozes out, and this will be the smallest of your vase stands. So the next set we are going to do is we're going to take 4 of those 3 block sets, and we're going to join them end to end as shown here, because this will be double the height. So join 2 of these sets end to end. Now we're going to continue this until we have 2 of the 2 stacked block sets. And now we're going to double that up for the 5 block sets as well. We're going to join 2 of those together to make the sides of our vase holder. So now go ahead and take your 4 block set, which of course is the top of your set, and take those 3 block sets and add 1 to each one of the sides. Go ahead and add your hot glue just like we did before, and we're going to form that U shape with 2 of those sets. Now once we do have that U shape, go ahead and add your 2 blocks that you've double stacked with your 5 block sets, and there you go. You have your mid-size block set. Add your glue, squeeze out the ooze, and there you go. You have your middle shape here. Now for the final one, we're going triple high, so we're going to use 3 of the 5 block sets, and we're going to use 3 of the 3 block sets, and we're going to glue them together the same way. Now once all of those sets are glued together, of course, we're going to grab our 4 block set, which is the center, and then we're just going to bond them together just like we did before, except this one will be the tallest, so it's 3 high. Now once those 2 sides are on, we have that U shape, and just go ahead and put those 2 triple block sets of your 5 blocks on each side. And there we go, we have our tallest set, and when we compare them all, we'll see they are all a tiered set. So now what we want to do is to stain our set, and to do this I am going to be using my Waverly Antique Wax. Now I am just going to use a small rag to stain this. Now you should be able to get the inside of the smallest tier easily with the rag, and just apply a nice thin layer on the inside and the outside of that block set until it's nice and covered with an even coat. Now you do want to make sure you get those edges as well so everything is nice and even, and here it is. So we're just going to repeat this for your other 2, and they may be a little deep for the rag. In this case, you would use a small paintbrush to get inside and make sure the inside edges are painted as well, and this is what they'll end up looking like. So once they sit and dry for about an hour, we can go ahead and start working on our vases. So I'm grabbing my vases and those black rocks that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these rocks to each one of the vases, and I'm going to fill it about 3/4 of the way full. Now once that's done, I have some little battery operated tea lights that I'm going to put inside, or you can put real tea lights since these are glass, and I'm going to add those as an accent. Now you can also accent with any greenery that you like as well. It's all up to you. So here are my vases and stands all set up on display, and I am loving this look. Now I think that the candle adds a little touch of relaxation to these, which adds a bit of calm to a space. And the triple tier design adds a bit of visual appeal, and the color of that wood looks so awesome. Now I really love how these stands are separate and that you can arrange them in so many ways. Now here they are all bunched together, and it totally changes up the look. Now I do think this way is a perfect option if you have a smaller place to display these. And of course, if candles aren't your thing, you can always add some sprigs of greenery as well. And having the rocks is totally optional too. Now another great thing is you can flip the blocks over and use them as vases as well. Now all you have to do with these is just add some stones, some succulents, onion grass, or whatever you like. Now this project is a set of bowl planters with stands. Now we're going to need one of these 2-piece bowl sets from the Dollar Tree. And we'll need 4 of these 3/4 inch square wood stakes that I got from Dollar General. Now these are advertised in the plant section and the garden section at the Dollar General store. They're 36 inches long and they turned out to be a perfect size for this project. And they only cost $1. So we're going to start by cutting those wood stakes down, and I'm going to cut 8 pieces at 6 1/4 inches. I'm going to cut 4 pieces at 4 inches. I'm going to cut 8 pieces at 5 1/4 inches and 4 pieces at 3 inches, and this will make 2 plant stands. Now you could try this with the tumbling tower blocks as well, but I think the stakes would be a lot more sturdy, but it's surely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my bowls, take them out of the package, and I'm going to be using these as a guide as I build my stands. We're also going to use a carpenter square that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to start with those 6 1/4 inch pieces. Go ahead and grab 4 of those, and we're going to make one of the frames. So take one of the pieces, align it up with your ruler, and we're going to be using our Sherm wood stick hot glue. Now you can use a regular wood glue if you like to, but the wood stick hot glue dries a lot faster for me, and I can keep working, and plus we will secure these a little further down the line. So we're going to take our pieces and we are going to start joining them together as shown here. Now as we flip the frame around, you'll notice that the raw end will connect to a finished end of the wood. You just want to make sure you press them firmly together and wipe away any glue that oozes out of the seam. Now we're adding that last one here. This will close up our frame. Just press it securely in place and make sure all the frame is holding together well. So once that is all adhered, here is one of our frames for our plant stand. Take your other 4 pieces and make an identical frame, so now you have 2. Now I'm just taking my large bowl, making sure it fits right on top, and it does, and the lip catches the edges just like we planned. So now we are going to add the legs for our plant stand, and these are the 4-inch pieces. So we're going to place 1 in each one of the corners. And then we're just going to add a dot of that wood stick hot glue down on each end and place 1 on each corner, making sure they're nice and secure. So now our legs are nice and secure to the bottom part of the frame. We are going to align and measure to fit our top part of our frame. We're just going to sit it on top and make sure it fits well, and then we can add our hot glue to each one of those legs and then press our frame firmly into place right on top. Now once that dries, our frame is nice and secure. So now we can take our 5 1/4 inch pieces and make our smaller frame, and we're going to start making 2 of those just like we did before. And then we're going to take our 3-inch pieces, and these will be the legs for this frame. We're going to apply them all around 4 corners of that frame after we test to make sure that bowl fits. We're going to glue that into place and place that frame on top, and then we will have 2 complete frame holders. Now these are nice and secure the way they are, but you know me, I love to make sure all my items are really secure. Now you certainly can use 1 1/4 inch wood screws for this, but I think that's a bit overkill, so I'm just going to use some regular 1 1/4 inch nails. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer 1 nail into each one of the corners, just holding it nice and sturdy until it's all the way into the frame. Now I'm going to repeat this all 4 corners on the top and the bottom of the frame. Now, if you really don't have a steady hand or you just want to be careful, you can use a pair of pliers, hold that nail in until that nail touches the pliers, and then finish it up. And that will make the process a lot easier as well. And you want to do this for both of the frames. So now that both of the frames are all nailed in, I'm going to stain the large one with my Jacobian Minwax stain, and I'm going to paint my smaller one with some black acrylic. And I just wanted to show you that you can finish these in paint or stain however you like. So I'm going to start by painting the small frame with the black acrylic paint. Now you can apply 1 or 2 coats to the entire frame all the way around. Now for the larger frame, we're just going to proceed with adding 1 nice coat of that Jacobian Minwax stain. You guys know I love my Jacobian stain, but feel free to use any stain color that you wish, just to make sure you get in all those cracks and crevices. Now once both pieces are fully covered, you want to sit them both out to completely dry. So now that they're both dry, we can start styling our pieces. So first of all, I'm going to grab my bowls, and you'll see that they'll nestle themselves right in top, just like we planned. Now we're going to fill our bowls with some greenery, and the greenery that I got from Dollar Tree this year was so awesome. So I'm just choosing a variety of greenery bundles and some succulents to fill my bowls. Now you can also use real plants if you like to. I'm just using what I had on hand. And now that I've chosen my greenery, I have placed them on display, and I'm really loving this look. Now the greenery from Dollar Tree this year is really impressive, and I was so lucky to find this cute assortment for both of my planters. Now even though the stained version is super cute, I really love the clean and modern version of the black too. Let me know what finish you would choose to customize these for your home in the comments below. Now this project is a set of succulent plant holders. Now we're going to need 2 candle holders from the Dollar Tree, and we'll also need 2 of these short glass vases from the Dollar Tree. So this is really easy. All we're going to do is we're going to take those short glass vases, and we will be adhering them to the top of these candle holders. Now I am going to be using hot glue for this, so I can easily remove it for future use, but if you want it to be permanent, please use E6000 as well. So place it right on top in the center and press it in place until it completely dries. And here are both of our candle holders and our vases attached. So now we can start to decorate our pieces, and I'm going to be using some of these white rocks from the Dollar Tree. Now you can use any kind of rocks or filler that you like. I just love the look of the white rocks in projects like these. And then you just decorate it and deck it out in the succulents or plants of your choice, and check it out. This was so simple and easy to make. Now I am a little bit obsessed with these drip pearl succulents, and you can get these from Amazon, or some Walmart stores carry these as well. Now I had so much fun making these projects today, and it's always so hard for me to pick a favorite. So let me know what your favorite project was in the comments below. Listen, I hope that you all enjoyed seeing these creations and are inspired to create these for your home. If you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now also be sure to subscribe by clicking on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen, and hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.